gonna take this lovely scorpion apart and attempt dyeing, hopefully. So just a little record, so hopefully I can get it back together. Let's see. Head over here, skull cap there, and when I peered into it, it seems the tail portion is connected to the very front two legs here, and that it goes up to, oh no, I think the tail and front two legs are parts that are connected. And then the side legs are connected up to the body. That's what it seems like. So let's try removing tail and front legs, and then we will see about this intersection here. So let's start with the front claws. And they are connected here with a clipper in here, which is very snug. So I guess I would put that on first, these two first, and then string them through, and then put your tail pieces on to get it to, oh yes, this final piece way back here. It's gonna be a doozy. Let's see if we can gently get our forceps to hold our little metal piece out far enough. If you do not have forceps, what are you doing in this hobby? Okay, so, and I apologize if none of this is in frame and you can't see any of it, because mostly record for me. And I can't see the monitoring screen, so sorry. I'm gonna try and get one a little lower in. The sides are pretty robust, so I'm hoping we don't do any damage. Okay, we're gonna release that one now. So we were able to take off the little piece there. No damage, it's got a little hook in it. So we're gonna do that, and then get ready. We're just gonna let her rip. And we will try and lay each piece out so that I can take a look back. And I mean, they're all sized, so we can get them back in order. And here we go. Okay, so that does not come through there. Interesting. So the hook won't pull through. So either I have to remove the hook from the other part of the elastic, or I let the hook sit in here and try to remove the claw part now that there's like the teeniest bit of more wiggle room. See if we can do the claws, because while I'm dyeing them, I do want them to kind of stay together perhaps. Haven't quite figured out how I'm going to dye them, or how I wish to dye them. Maybe the same thing here, because this guy isn't that big of a hook, or is kind of a big hook. Let's see, I think I'm gonna have to take this hook out. So I do this. I'm going to try bending the hook open, and then the elastic will just shoot through. I may not have to do this in the very end of things. Actually, I would turn this probably around the other way when I go to put it back together. I need my other, dexterous hand to, I'm left-handed, but do most things right-handed. So take that as you will. I don't know if it makes me better at doing things or more awkward at doing things with either hand. I just want to try and bend that hook so I could get the elastic off of it. That guy is huge. Sorry, bringing it closer to my face so I can see. Using the table as my little third arm here. Got it a little bit more wider. Oh, but I don't want to chop up the elastic cabling. All right, I'm going to investigate the claw a bit more. Now I might, these guys love to clamp together. Might be able to get this claw in there. Let's see. Bottom. And try to draw it out. There we go. This might have the same problem. So if we see the claw has a bit of a larger clamp. So, because we have it fair ways out, we're gonna will it go through the whole hole? I mean, they made it good, so if a piece does come off, it's not just gonna explode on you. So that is where I do have to take it out of this. I want to see if I can enlarge the bottom of the hook. And of course, I will struggle it just so I don't have to get up and go get a pair of pliers. Like, who needs pliers? Do this old-fashioned way. With the wrong tools. Just get in there. Open it up. All right. So now I've opened up the hooks a little bit. So that hopefully I will be able to grab that, slip it off the elastic, and then we will see some movement in body pieces. Back in again with our curved forceps. And all we want to do, I will lock those, bring it up, and we will snap onto the elastic with our other forceps. Ready for this? This is gonna go now. So we have the claw part. We're gonna move the tail part up there. So we have claw part, this that had the hook, which my hook is over here. And we'll do that. So hook there pointing. Then we had this arm piece, elastic came through that to this piece. I'm going to do an arm out of the way comparison here. That to the leg joint that went in the body. Okay, so I am thinking to color these. This darker to light body part. Okay, so I'm back. I got the one claw arm free. I've then used just some very thin jewelry wire to put all the pieces in order onto the one arm here. I put the little S hook away for safekeeping. And I usually just put them on a wood board, so either they could sit in the die or I'll be able to dunk and drag and get my desired look. We're going darker to lighter. I did get the other one free because now that elastic, you said, goes to both claws and towards the tail. So I'm just removing the other claw side. I just have my S hook here. So I shouldn't have released that, because it won't come out as well as we'd like it to. And so I do find it's kind of integral that you're going to remove these. No, you're either going to want to spread out. I don't know if you can see that. You might have to bend the end of the S hook to get it back on and off. Pardon the dog barks. There's not a lot I can do about it. So then just removing leg pieces in order. So now we've got those two elastics out of there, and that's how you'd start placing it for when you want to put the legs back on as well. So hopefully when I'm done I can share this as well. And now that we've got that out of the way, we should be able to pull out that elastic and it will just contain the tail. Hey, no. Thank you. I will show you the wire. So just, again, thin jewelry wire. Somehow I've gotten a nice tangle in this bunch here. Similar to kind of when you're choosing elastics to put into your doll. You're like educated guessing how long you might need it to be to go from end to the front. I'll do one more loop. You might not be able to even see this wire on the screen once I cut it to size. Come back here. There. And starting from top, going down. And sometimes there gets to be kinks, so just try not to make that happen, because as it's dying, I'm going to want to use my set of tongs to kind of lift them up and get dye between the joints, which is why I chose dyeing instead of just blushing it, because it'll help reduce a little bit of the chipping away of the dye when it's to be moving or just sitting or carried around. And through this big guy, and we're gonna go around our claw there and pulling out however much we think we need to get back up to the top. And just aiming to restring it with this wire all the way back to the top. And then when we get to the legs part, I won't show you this whole process because it'll be pretty much the same. I'll show you one, but there will be 4 4 legs to do. Oh, and our top one decided to jump off. But that's okay, because we can just take both of these pieces of wire and put them through at the top. So now we've got almost all of our leg on here. So again, it's going to end up with the socket into there. So making sure to put it on the right direction. And they do have a little left and right just into this top part. I didn't notice it on these bottom part of the legs, though perhaps they can be fairly ambidextrous there. So now the challenge is to try and make sure these are evenly spaced and evenly placed or hung, so that when you go dip them into the dye, especially if you're looking for a graduated look, ombre look, that we're going to achieve it by having them hang somewhat symmetrically. And should be good. I know I'm going to be twisting up underneath of these boards. I also put little chips into the board so that they don't slide around. That is one very annoying thing I noticed last time. If you don't have some sort of marks or places for them to be held on your rod or spoon or whatever you're putting them into the dye bath with, then if they slide off, they could slide off and get lost in your dye soup, which is not excellent when you're trying to achieve symmetrical color on either side. So very good to have them secured to your piece that you're dunking in. This one a little twist in there. So now we've got them on there. Now for a tail. Oh, nice. So we've got a knot on the elastic here. Let's see if we can pull just a little more of regular elastic through. Wants to be stubborn. And again, getting our forceps. Now we can pull them out further. Got our little very teeny S-hook out. So our elastic should come out there. And laying out the order. And I think again we'll go dark to lighter on these pieces. And that's our elastic there. What I might do is take a measurement of this elastic as well, so that I have that in my measurement records, so that if I ever want to restring the doll, I don't necessarily have to take it all apart, or I'll be able to know how much elastic I will need to purchase. And also measure the diameter, because it's very, very thin elastic to get through these very thin sections. So I will thread this up through our metal and be back. So I've got my tail all strung up. I also tried to hang it in layers so that as I'm dunking, these will be the lightest ones on the left-hand side, and the ones that can stay in longer on the right-hand side. So I can dunk the whole thing, wait for a minute, and then slowly start pulling it up to get a better gradient in the tail. And we'll see how that works out. Ooh, if it doesn't work, then it's all just getting dyed turquoise or aquamarine color. So now I'm going to go for the legs. To do that, all I need to do is remove the big hook at the top. So again, watching out for your fingers. Just going to slide it out of there, and that will release the upper body portion, and our elastic should come out. There is a knot in the middle of the body, so we will see if we can gently convince it that it should come down to here. There we go. Yeah, some of these knots are in strange places in the body. And I mean, when you're tying up the knots, that can be challenging. Again, take your time. You don't want to rip and poke and pop anything. So just kind of let the elastics do some stretching. They have been holding things kind of taut and steady for a long time. So if we take a peek at how this was all put together, and I did 3D print a face hugger, so surprisingly, this is similar to that, where one string kind of goes through and holds all the legs, and then it goes to hold the tail on. And in this case, the tail and front claws are separate, and these legs and the body were together. So still just we had this one string holding. So again, forceps, super handy. My doggies are in the background, of course. They are so hungry right now. Starving. There we go. Okay, so our leg should disengage. We're at the back right side leg. From there, and it's our crisscross to the left front, but it's connected to the same side front. Interesting. And we can start loosening it up, which should make it easier to get the other legs off. And maybe I'll be able to write on a stick that these will be the right side legs. Because they don't seem to have any kind of labeling, because they really don't matter. They're all the same. So I will get these undone and strung up, and I'll be back. So with the legs all off, we just have like the body piece here, 2 pieces. For dyeing, I strung legs up according to each height of the legs. So this is the top part of the legs. That way I can dunk those at one time. Middle part of the legs should all be the same color, I think. And the bottom part, which I'm hoping to do darker, so these guys can sit in there a little bit longer. This piece I don't think will have too much dye on it, perhaps just around this midsection here. And this one I might do a single dunk for just a little bit of color. So these ones will probably be done either by hand, or I will just string them on separately onto a piece. So the last part will just be the torso here, and she does have jointed fingers. So we're going to take a little extra time to get in there. I'm going to just move this out of the way, and then I will be right back to take this piece apart. Okay, so I did some fiddling off camera, so I was able to get the hand off. Just using, again, the forceps. So I grabbed the little hook that is inside the hands, and it's holding on to our fingers, of course. And I think I'm just going to, I just want a little staining kind of on the hand. So I think I'm just going to dunk those in using the forceps, so I don't have to take them apart. And then I can just move the fingers so that the dye can get into the joints, and you can't really see the elastics anyway. So I think that will do a good job. So we can hold those on like that. With the chest piece again, and as I strung these ones up here to go into the dye bath. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the color turns out like if I do the chest piece as well, or this one is easy enough for me to do color with pastels and things that way. So that's the easiest one to paint. I will be stringing on the arms a little bit and seeing what our color comes out like, and deciding if I want to do kind of the body part of that. And same thing for undoing this arm. So the challenge is there is the elastic knot. So I'm going to see if I can loosen up the one piece of elastic, or one side of the elastic. And here again, forceps, our best friends. getting into and just holding on to our hand. And then the challenge is to get the elastic out of the little side of our hook. Oh, and of course it comes out the big side. So gently hanging on. I mean, the fingers stay intact, but it's helpful to have something else to hold on to if we're dipping the hand. So we'll see if we can get the hook out of the elastic. There we go. So now I could put it back onto here. A bit more challenging when you only have one forcep instead of the two. Let's see if we were able to grab on. With enough forceps, you could do anything. But it's also handy to have a stringing buddy. Now it's hard in COVID times. You don't have dull groups all that much happening. We can have them online. People can walk you through the stringing. Here we go. And clip back on. There we go. So we don't lose our hands. Yay. Tiny applause. So we'll go through, string these guys together, and then that's the last of all the pieces that will come apart. Also helpful so we don't lose them. And then it's time to try and figure out what parts we dye first, because the dye bath will run out of colorant and dye despite it still looking dark. So figure out what parts we want darkest and what parts we want lightest, and figuring out a dyeing order. Okay, so I'm back. Most of my stuff is set up to dye color our scorpion doll. Of course, mask. I've got all my parts ready that I want darkest first, then lighter. They're kind of going to drip dry over here. We have the stove set up, so boiling water going to happen here. Got ice bath, and then towel to protect the floor. I will be turning on the overhead fans as well, because it does get smelly. Might crack a window. We have some warmer temperatures today. I can't record the process because I actually just broke my little mic stand phone holder, but I will come back and show you the after results. So yeah, that's the way it's going to work today. Wish me luck. All right, so there we've got all our parts, nice gradients, just as planned. So the tail gradient went well from light to dark. We've got our upper leg, middle leg, and our lower leg, nice and dark there. Torso went light as we wanted, upper body same way. And the head, I kept undyed so that when you're doing face-ups and removing them, you won't be taking the dye with you. You can always add that with blushing. One problem I did have was a couple fingers fell off in the dye bath. It was horrible. I want to keep a spoon under them next time if I were to dye again. So keep them in a basket or something that will retain them. I did give them a little spray of MSC to kind of seal everything in, or if I did a little additive blushing or things like that. Now, when stringing it all back together, it's just the same as taking it apart, basically, but you're ending with the thinnest part. I used a wire to bring that stringing through. I did find keeping posts in these ones here where the last bit of the legs is going to come out and put it together. So that was really helpful. And there she is. So I did use pastels, of course. I used some mica powder. I used gouache paints. And I was really inspired by the eyes, actually, that I got from her original owner as well. So she was secondhand to me. And I thought they were like kind of bug-like. I love the color combination, and that's what lent me to kind of the
color of her outfit too, I had just found the fabric in a thrift store and used DG Requiem pattern, rescaled it to her size and measurements that she has. And yeah, put this all together. I figure you can never have too much little jewels and things, so I really like that addition since I have some red and blue ones. And when you have this many legs, have you not put garters on them all? I couldn't fit it over the claw one, and I didn't want to stitch little snaps to it yet. Maybe for some more elaborate garters in the future. And I did put some little sheen on the end of the tail, and a little moon and a little sun for, again, some celestial Pluto feelings, just in some mica powder. I did that by actually cutting out a little shape with my Cricut Air 2 cutter, and then use that as a decal to help get those across as well. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This video is super long, but hopefully it will help someone else be creative with their own scorpion or other dolls if they should like to try to get some gradients going with dye. So far she has been looking good the whole time, and hope she continues to do so.